Hello there, so in my last video, I explained how to represent music through rhythm. While that is probably the most important thing about rhythm choice, understanding what makes rhythm effortlessly readable and playable is also pretty important when handling irregular rhythm.
Dude, nice.
Look at this map here. Between almost every object is a half-beat gap. These are like a metronome for you while you're playing, making it really easy to know when to accurately click. There's a few 1/4 rhythms as well, which are twice as fast as the usual metronome. They're really easy. There's even some full beat gaps, which are exactly half as fast as the usual metronome. They're also really easy. So rhythm on this map is as ordinary gets. By just playing Osu, you've grown so familiar with playing all of these regular rhythms that you expect every object to be a 1/2, 1/4, or full beat gap, which is where interpreting irregular rhythm gets a bit tricky. For example, listen to this. There's this one bass sound on a blue tick that stands out a lot, creating two 3/4 beat gaps. This is not regular 1/2 or 1/4 rhythm that people are used to, but that's what the song's doing, so rhythm needs to match it. The worst rhythm choice I could have for this bass noise is just placing a circle on each sound. This isn't bad because the song doesn't support it. It's bad because nobody expects a 3/4 gap between objects after playing exclusively regular rhythms. In order to make this one-time irregular rhythm readable, I'd want it to follow ideas expressed in regular rhythm, specifically with the usage of 1/2 and 1/4 gaps. In this case, each object is clicked on a bass sound just like before, but it's done in a way that's easily readable. Players can interpret the length of each of these sliders as half a beat, and the gaps between these objects as a 1/4 beat. Because of these, people can actually read the 3/4 beat gap. Circles alone could also work in a similar way. By alternating between 1/2 and 1/4, rhythm will prioritize the blue tick while still being readable. The easiest and probably most popular way to handle 3/4 rhythms like this is through passive reverse sliders. They pretty much let the rhythm play itself for you through the slider, but they're also pretty lame when there's other active rhythm options that could better represent the music. Anyway, that's enough examples. You should understand that 3/4 gaps can be readable by incorporating 1/2 and 1/4 rhythm, or by using passive rhythm. The other irregular rhythms people have trouble with are snappings on 1/3 and 1/6. When these are inserted into songs primarily using 1/4 and 1/2 rhythm, mapping them actively can be pretty confusing, even more confusing than 3/4 rhythms because they're a different beat snap divisor. However, incorporating regular rhythm concepts passively is still possible through clicking between only full beat and half beat gaps. Take this little 1/6 burst thing for example. Players are expecting anything arranged like this to be 1/4 circles, so 1/6 circles wouldn't really work. Instead, the 1/6 can be mapped passively through reverses, allowing the clicking interval to be the same as everything else, half a beat. Similarly, this 1/3 stream would be unreadable if it were circles, but I could passively map it with only clicking between each full beat, which players are comfortable with. So that's how to handle shorter sections of irregular rhythm. If irregular rhythm lasts for a longer time though, passive rhythm like these can be really boring. Fortunately, repetition can be used to make previously unintuitive rhythm actually intuitive. So for example, look at this 1/3 section. Everything up until here in the song used 1/4 and 1/2, so clicking 1/3 circles would be a bit too confusing. However, being passive about all rhythm would just be really uninteresting. Easing players into 1/3 rhythm is the best choice. This starts out with entirely passive rhythm, clicking only on the white ticks for the first few objects. By the point players reach object 5, a clickable object on the 1/3 tick, they should understand that rhythm is in 1/3 because every object of the combo was snapped in 1/3. Because players can listen and then adapt to what passive rhythm is expressing, this is playable and readable. The same thing could be said about 3/4 beat gaps as well actually. By repeating the same 3/4 clicking between these sliders, it's easy enough to guess that the circles after these could also be following the same 3/4 beat clicking. This idea can even work for structuring rhythm on entire maps. Not every map uses basic 1/2 and 1/4 rhythm, yet these maps can still be playable when repeating the same rhythms constantly. So now you know that irregular rhythms can be handled using concepts similar to common rhythm or through constant repetition. These are what I consider to be the most understandable ways, but I've also seen people handling them with sliders due to their hit windows and even through spacing, although both of these ways can be pretty confusing, so good luck with that. Before ending this though, I should also mention that Charles445 has a video covering a similar topic, which I found pretty useful when I started mapping. It goes over how to handle transitioning between on-beat and off-beat rhythms between white/red ticks and blue ticks. I sort of explained that briefly by saying to use regular 1/4 and 1/2 to transition into irregular 3/4 beat gaps, but his video talks about more complex situations, so watch it if you're curious.